Hey girl, welcome back to the Her Best Self podcast. I have a special treat for you today. I can't wait to share with you one of my most amazing clients. Miss Mo is just an inspiration in so many different ways. We worked together for some time to help her through her recovery journey. I wanted to bring Mo on to encourage you, to give you some insight into what it looks like behind the scenes to work with me one-on-one in private eating disorder recovery coaching. And I hope that you enjoy this conversation today. We're going to talk about divorce. We're going to talk about the next chapter of life after you've kind of gone through this healing process and continue to heal through your recovery. We're going to talk about some biggest struggles that were in Mo's life and what we did together partnering through coaching to help get her on the right path forward. So let's hop right in to today's episode.
Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsay Nickel, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess trapped in the destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it so you can start living your best life as your best self. So I'm super excited about this conversation today. I get to share with all the listeners, Miss Mo, and just, I don't know, your spice for life. It's just been such a pleasure getting to know you over the past year. And so I'm just honored to kind of bring you into the podcast space and just share you a little bit with all of our listeners. I regularly get asked how we can bring on some of our previous clients to just share, where they are in their recovery journey and how life is going for them, what their biggest struggles are. And so I thought that this would just be an honest conversation of, you've been through so much and you were so kind and vulnerable to come on the show and say, hey, this is what works, this is what hasn't worked. And so I just wanted us to have a super candid conversation for our listeners. But everyone today gets blessed with getting to learn more about you. And so I'm going to hand you the mic. You guys can't see us wherever Zoom, but I'm like handing Mo the mic for her to share a little bit about herself with all of you, as much or as little as you want, and just kind of share a little bit about your story, like how you came into my sphere and what kind of brought you here and some of your biggest struggles.
Well, thanks. Thank you for having me today. As you said, my name is Mo. I live in Southern Florida, and I'm a mom of two, a tween and a teenage girl. And I've suffered from an eating disorder basically since I was 14, on and off. I went through about a 10-year period in my 30s where I was recovered and really didn't have any symptoms or thoughts and things. But I would say it was after my second daughter that I really got back into the over-exercising and under-eating. And I really think it's true what they say about eating disorders, that if you even unintentionally go into like a calorie deficit or low energy availability, that it can trigger it again because it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
And so about the past 12 years or so, I would say my weight got lower. I got more strict with food rules, exercise rules, and everything from food rules to what I would eat to timing of when I would eat. And so the last probably year and a half, I had gone and tried 2 or 3 different eating disorder therapists and counseling and dietitians. And I have to say, like, each time I dreaded the call. I knew anything I'd say wasn't good enough, and why didn't I do better? I felt like I was always getting punished, kind of getting the slap on the back of the hand. So it really didn't go anywhere. And then around the time we had a move across the state, I, again, thought about doing therapy or coaching and went the therapy route. And again, spent about 5 months going nowhere. All this time, I had been listening to your podcast and was on your Facebook page and connected with someone else who was doing better. And she highly recommended you. And I thought, maybe this is something different that I need to try and to try coaching.
Yeah, I love that. I just love your story because I feel like, yeah, it was kind of like your toes were in a little bit to the world. And then I remember our first time meeting, you basically said, "Hey, I've done all this stuff. And so nothing has worked up to this point. And I just want to let you know, like, that's where I am with it all." And it was just a vulnerable, honest, I'm not a clinician, I'm not a therapist. And no, you're not going to do anything wrong. Like, we're just going to try to push you together if you decide to take the next step. So I loved your authentic self, even when we first met, because you were just like, look, I've done it and I'm tired of working with people that aren't really helping me get anywhere. So I appreciated that. It was a good challenge too. I was like, okay, we're gonna get this one. Like, we are gonna help her get over the hump here. I know that you've been through a lot this past year, and I've seen so much growth in you. And so fast forward, guys, like Mo and I worked together for a really quite a long time of helping support your recovery journey.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of thinking back over the last year, what were your biggest challenges, you would say, like even when you came into the coaching space? I mean, obviously there's a bunch of fears. It's something new. You've had previous mixed experiences in the past, but like, what were some of the biggest challenges that, in your words, you felt just were like unsurmountable for you?
Well, in total transparency, I also separated with my husband during our time, kind of out of the blue. I mean, things had been going bad, but it was a quick decision. And I would say that was a big challenge because I felt like I couldn't focus just on my recovery. I was in survival mode of like taking care of my house and my kids. So that was a big challenge. I think the fear, there was probably some fear of actually getting better too, like losing that control and losing that identity. So I would say those were probably two big things that stick out in what I was thinking and what I thought was hindering.
Yeah, I would say too, like, I mean, I look back on a couple of conversations and sessions we had where, you were like, I'm just not where I want to be yet. And, I hear that often. And so it's just something to kind of bring back into the fold is that, yeah, but look at all that you did do up to that point. You're like, yeah, I'm doing this like through trauma, first of all, right? Which was like an entire thing in itself. And through selling houses and moving and like all the dynamics. And so it just was such an awesome experience because I actually felt like, and I remember sharing this with you, like, this is the time for you to do this. Like, I know this feels like this is the worst possible time to do this because, your fear is valid. What if I can't do this and I've got too much going on? I'm just trying to live survival mode. But the other thought was like, this is the best time because if we can focus on healing these holes during trauma, right, then we can help support you as you come into the next chapter, which is the you chapter, I feel like. And I've seen a lot of transformation happen there. And then you'll be ready to take the world by storm and just go with the next chapter of your life versus then having to figure out recovery, right? So you kind of all did it together. And so I don't know, I just think that was something for me that was amazing to see because many people would have sat and said, no, like I have to pause this because I'm working through all of these things that are personal to me. And while I think that that's fine, totally valid, you were like, no, I need to get through this so that I can be strong enough for my girls and for myself, which is just victorious in my opinion. It's awesome.
And that's what benefited me so much, your positivity and your not trust in me, but your faith in like that I could do it. And, when I thought I wasn't doing anything, your help in pointing out what I did. And that's so much what I needed, like a little bit of cheerleading on the way too. Yeah, honestly, I think it was the best thing to do it in the middle of the hardest time of my life, because that just shows as my life gets easier in the personal part or the relationship part, that I can do it. It's easier to do, the eating and everything. Because if you can do it something in your hardest time, it's easier when you're doing it in an easier time. I also think the progress that I had made before that, and actually even during it, helped so much to keep going. There's no way I could have packed a whole house and sold it and dealt with hurricanes the same couple of weeks and the kids if I was still following all my old behaviors, worrying about getting to the gym or having the perfect meal, low carb meal for me and something different for the kids. It was just so much easier to do all of that and be able to go with the flow of eating and not exercising or exercising by moving boxes or whatever it may be, instead of a structure and how rigid and structured things were before.
Yeah, it was definitely a season of permission in which I'm still very proud of you allowing that for yourself. I mean, I think a lot of it was routine. And just for the listeners that are listening, if you struggle with eating at certain times, and being very particular about certain food that you're eating at certain times and getting really frustrated with the world around you if it's 6:00 and your dinner's not on the table. Those are things that we worked on together. And we went from that to like eating pizza in front of the TV and just going out with your girls to watch a football game and just enjoying what was there. And so you've done so many like face the fears, I can do hard things. And that doesn't happen overnight. I mean, that happens with practice and consistent behaviors of like facing the hard. But what do you think was like your biggest takeaway from just the overarching experience, and also something that might help a listener that's listening in, just thinking about like, is this something that would help me where I am in my recovery? I'm scared to kind of take that step to partner with somebody to help because maybe the support I've had in the past hasn't been the best, or maybe I don't have a support system currently. And so, I mean, what are your thoughts on, because it takes bravery and courage to go, I don't want to live like this anymore.
Yeah, I think, like I said, having the support from you, the positivity, working on little steps at a time, each week, like, okay, what are we going to do this week? Like you mentioned, eat dinner at a different time or make it casual in front of the TV or something like that. And oh, yeah, that sounds doable. And the one thing that you thought was hard and wasn't hard. It's like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. And so I would say that was definitely a big change. Again, kind of the breaking it up in the small steps and the positivity. I mean, because if I can do this, I mean, I'm in my 50s and had these routines and structures so long, I think anybody can. It's just a matter of like doing it little by little. If you're not a person that can go cold turkey on something, you don't have to. You can take one challenge at a time.
Yeah, I love that you went there because I feel like that's what I did. And I mean, I talk about that regularly, but I feel like having some control of recovery is really what helps us free ourselves from that control. And so those bite-sized actions give us a little bit of our own control. I mean, if we're real, it's when you do something cold turkey, it's total surrender of your control. And that does not come easy for a control freak, right? So it's like being able to go, okay, I can surrender in chunks and I don't know what is around the corner, but I know where I am now is a little bit better than where I was. And maybe I'm still exercising and doing it more than I would like, but I've parsed back some of it a little bit, or I'm trying to view it a little bit differently. And so that's why I say like everybody's journey is uniquely their journey. And you really embrace that. Like this week, we're going to work on this and you were consistent. And this week we're going to work on this and you were consistent. And I feel like obviously I can't do that for a client. Like you have to be the one, right? But you brought that. And I think that is what I saw was really that driving force behind, I think, why you got the outcomes of current. So I love all of this. And I feel like we could talk about it forever. Can you share a message? Maybe there's a listener right now, and there is, and I'm speaking directly to her. Can you share a message of hope or inspiration for her? Because she feels like all she thinks about is food. All she thinks about is what she can have. all she thinks about is how she can burn off the calories or how she can restrict now so that she can have dinner later, or she can have that glass of wine, or she can have that piece of chocolate, whatever it is. Can you speak to her, kind of reminding yourself of how it was to be in your old version of you, which you
Mhm.
talk about regularly, and then the version you're at now, and kind of give her some inspiration or hope of anything that would have helped you, I guess, when you were in that place?
That nothing bad happens. Like, I think there was a fear of like, I'm instantly going to blow up, or I'm instantly, if I eat regular pizza, going to eat the whole pizza. And I would say, I wish I would have known like that your body knows. And that doesn't happen. Your worst fears don't happen. And each little step was so much fun and the freedom you feel. Like, I just remember this point of the first time I got a frozen pizza that I hadn't had in 15 years, thick crust with everything on it. And the freedom, like, I realized after I ate later that night that even from the store that day of buying it to after dinner until I was just like texting a friend, that I didn't look at a label. I didn't look at a serving size, a calorie number, any numbers at all. And it was like, oh, that was kind of easy and kind of fun. Like, what took me so long? But nothing bad happened. I didn't gain weight that night. Nothing. It just was, I don't know. It would be to get some support to help you realize that your worst fears don't come true. Don't Things only get better.
Yeah. I just love that perspective because, you get to kind of be in both worlds. And I feel like it's easy coming from somebody that, well, I talk about this every day, but that has that lived experience of being in both worlds. Like, I really, really remember days of being sick, like it was yesterday in my head. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also remember the struggle of going through recovery and beating myself up and then giving myself permission. And then I also remember afterwards thinking those same things. Like, I'm making it be huge and it feels so big. And I get that, not to minimize it, like when you're in it. But the reality is that being so proud of yourself is bigger. That empowerment is bigger.
And that freedom in your head of not thinking about food or macros or weight or just numbers. I mean, I had kept a spreadsheet for a couple of years of my weight, my macros, my sleep, I mean, just any number, my steps. And I would say that was one of the first things we did, is like stop tracking all that and get rid of the scale. And I was thinking, but I've done this so long and I do it every single day. And I just gave it up and I was like, that was so easy and it's so nice. And I'm not saying that it would be easy for everybody, but it just was like, oh gosh, to not have to think like I need to record that or remember this and stuff. And it just was like a good first step in don't boggle your mind with all of that. And you have more space to think about fun things in your life.
I remember that session too, where you were like, oh, I shouldn't be tracking all these things. I have to give these up. And you're telling me about the spreadsheet. And I'm like, oh gosh, we've got a spreadsheet one. Like, we've got a spreadsheet one. But I did it too, except I had this notebook. And I'm only laughing because it feels so hard when we've been so structured and rigid around that. And we go to that as a behavior every single day. But when we give ourselves permission to release it and we have that support of like, you're allowed to do this, like, don't use your permission, use mine, which is what we talk about often, then it gives you that extra level of, okay, I can do this. And then when you do it, you get that hit of achievement. And that's ultimately what we want, is that hit of achievement. I'm just so proud of everything that you've done. What does it mean to be your best self? And how are you living into that today?
Oh gosh. So I feel like a couple of months ago, I was almost my worst self, and not in regards to eating disorder, but kind of the whole thing combined with moving and divorce and just high conflict in the divorce process. And now I'm feeling the other side, the best self, like just enjoying life, not being controlled by numbers, not being fearful. I had a friend come into town last week just for the day, and she got here and it was just so easy and fun because I wanted to see her and catch up, but like, just like, where do you want to go to lunch, and let her pick a place didn't know where we were going. And actually, when we ordered out, she ordered. I was still kind of toying between two things. I just said, I'll have what she's having, which wasn't even one of the things. It just sounded good when she said it. But some of those like little things like that. And I recently had a first date, and not that it's going to go anywhere necessarily, but it just brought back the confidence. Like I didn't have any worries about how I looked or what my body size was or anything like that. I just was like, this will be fun. Let's see what he can bring to the table, sort of thing.
Oh my gosh, I am like want to come through the screen because those are huge. First off, the fact that you're like, I'll just have what she's having. I mean, to think about what that means coming from not even wanting to eat out at all, looking at the menu beforehand, which we had talked about, getting a salad with dressing on the side, like all of those old habits and behaviors, beating yourself up the next day with cardio because you did go and got the salad with the dressing on the side, to then ordering what she had. It's just incredible. You're just a blossom of all the good things. And I don't know, I stalk Mo on Facebook and Instagram because I like to see what she's doing in her life, because we're not meeting one-on-one anymore for sessions, just because of so much great progress. And you really are just, I don't know, you're just awesome. So what excites you the most? And maybe it's the date, I don't know, but like what excites you the most about the future? I just love that you're able to even put yourself out there, because when we're in the disorder, we don't want to do anything. We don't even want to go outside. We just, right. Unless it's to the gym, we don't want to be around other people. It's very isolating. So like, what excites you for the future?
I would say, the dates are fun too, but I would say just having spontaneous things to do, being able to do things with my kids, or things on a date, or things when a friend comes to town, just by what feels good. Hey, what do you want to do? Hey, where do you want to eat? And, it's actually fun. Like I've been like I used to just live in my workout clothes. And I mean, I still kind of do. I'm a stay-at-home mom currently, but like I've been ordering more clothes, like, if I wanted to go to happy hour, or, we were during football season going on Sundays and meeting a group to cheer on our team at a bar and stuff. So I was like, I need some more jeans or some neat things like that. So it's just been fun to be more social and more out there, and just, I feel like bring me back to who I was before this dragged me down.
Yeah. And I mean, what you're experiencing as your best self, which we, I've talked about, and building that version of you. And I don't know, it's just super cool to see the other side of kind of like the transformation of it all. When you come into low points, to setbacks, and then kind of see you flourish. Not to say that you're not human and I'm not human, and there still aren't things that pop into your mind or old behaviors that try to get into your head, but then you go, no, like I know what to do with this now. Mm-hmm. And so it's just really awesome to see your side of it, to hear your side of it. And that's why I wanted to bring you on to share with other ladies. Like, this is what happens when you invest in yourself and you go all in, and you make the commitment to really be consistent and go, what I'm doing right now is not working, and it hasn't for a while. And so if I want to change my life, I have to first make a choice that I'm not going to do this anymore, and then be willing to see where that takes me. And you've done that. So again, I think that you're a remarkable testimony to the work, really just putting in 100% when it comes to recovery. Anything else you want to share before we tie this one off with a bow? I feel like, again, we could talk about so many different things, but just your encouragement, your story, where you are now, has been, I think, so helpful for other women that are listening.
Well, and I think then that's what I really got from you, is your story too. Like when I was struggling with something, you could relate. And I feel like people that haven't been through this can't relate. Whereas like, you can be like, oh yeah, when I was at this point, or, this is what I would tell myself if I needed a little pep talk to have to eat the extra thing. And I think it builds a whole nother level of trust, is that, it's like, okay, she actually does know what I'm feeling, and she has made it, and nothing bad happened, when you're that scared. So yeah.
I love that, because I agree. I think it's hard when you feel like you're going somewhere blindly, and then you're not sure if that person is for you or understands. Mm-hmm. And I think that is one thing that led me to this, again, the calling of it all. But when I went through recovery, there was no such thing as coaches. I had a therapist. I actually had multiple ones because I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
I had to go through the personalities and all of that. And then at the same time, the industry, it's still very new, in my personal opinion, of
Yeah.
dealing with the struggles of eating disorders. But there weren't that many trained therapists, even when I went through recovery, to go, hey, I know what I'm working with to kind of help support you. And none of them had eating disorders. So to your point, I kind of felt like, well, how would you know how to tell me, if you don't live in my head or you haven't experienced it? And so I do like that part of it. I feel like it builds some of that connection for sure. And it also helps meet the client where they're at. And it helps you, to just go, hey, like, she's a human. She's not an Oompa Loompa man. And if she can do this, I can too. And, so it kind of gives you that extra level of motivation to do the
Yes.
next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to say thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. You are, I don't know, you came into my space and it's been a blessing. And I'm just so honored to know you, even though we live in different parts of the East Coast, although I'd much rather be in Florida than in Virginia. But I just wanted to say thank you for popping on. Thank you for sharing with the world all about you. And it's been an honor to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. And thank you for giving me my life back.
Aw, thank you. And thanks, ladies, for listening today. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learning all about Mo and just her experience with the struggle and overcoming it. And it's just been a ride. So hopefully this gave you a little spark of encouragement for today to keep going and to do the next thing. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.
Hey, sis, before you go, I want to invite you into my corner of the world. You can find more about how you can work with Her Best Self at herbestself.co. We have a brand new website to help you, to support you, and to give you all the resources that we have on eating disorders. Friend, I want to encourage you to invest in you. Don't wait another moment. Go on out to the website, fill out a client application, and I'll meet you soon.
Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.